Hello everybody, Hilary here and welcome to Lockdown Art for Everyone. I hope you're all keeping well in the lockdown. Today I'm going to do a little demonstration to show you how you can paint and do some art for relaxation and escapism. What's that you say? You haven't got any paints? Oh well, not to worry, we're going to make some. Let's go to the kitchen. So the first thing you're likely to have in your kitchen is tea. Yes, a tea bag, and the second thing you're likely to have, I'm sure everybody's going to have some coffee. So we're going to put a large teaspoon of instant coffee into the bowl. And the third thing that you might have in your kitchen is cocoa powder. So I'm going to put half a teaspoon of cocoa powder in that bowl. So the next thing to do is you've already boiled your kettle, hopefully, is we're going to pour some hot water onto the tea bag, into the coffee and into the cocoa powder. And we're going to mix it up. Hopefully it will melt nicely if you put quite hot water in there. Make sure you use a vessel that isn't going to melt. Give that a little mush. Get the colour out of it. And we'll leave that to soak now. So there we are. There's your paints, guys. So what kind of paper have you got in your home? Well, this is a piece of watercolour paper. You're probably not going to have a piece of that. But you might have some old Christmas cards. And as long as they're kind of matte and not a shiny finish, you could use those. I'm going to practice on this one because I got it a bit dirty. Okay, the other kind of paper you're more than likely going to have is printing paper. If you've got a printer, you've probably got some printing paper. Now this you can use. It is quite light, but this is what I did mine on. You might have some paper that's just a little bit thicker. So I'm working on A5 size paper, which is just tearing a piece of A4 in half. And I suggest you gather about 6 pieces. 10 pieces, well 5 A4 and tear them in half so you've got 10 pieces because you're going to need a practice piece as well. So here's some paintbrushes you might have at home. This first one is just an ordinary painting brush for decorating. The next one is a similar thing. The next one is actually a paintbrush that is a nylon head paintbrush. This is a blusher brush and this is a sponge. You can always use a piece of sponge if you want to cut one from your scourer in the kitchen. And if you haven't got any of those other brushes, you might have a baking brush that you use to dust egg on your scones or pies that you make. So I'm going to use each brush to demonstrate. Let's start with the tea. So I'm going to do some orbs first on the photocopy paper. Starting in the center, near the top, just going to do a small orb using this as the point. Yes, that's what you're painting with, that little point there. And you're just going to dollop the paint on there, the watery paint on there. Now let's do another one over here. It doesn't matter, it's quite faint. So the next brush I'm going to try is this brush, and I'm going to use the coffee with that brush. So again, using this as the point, I'm going to do another orb there. Now the coffee comes out a little bit darker. So just do a circle and fill it in. Use your top circle as a guide. There we are. And then I think I'll put another coffee one up there. Try not to let them touch, because the idea is to keep them separate. So let's try another brush now. Let's use the egg duster, this one. And let's use the cocoa powder with that. Oh, cocoa powder is a bit of a different colour. Bit of a different shade actually to the other two. Let's try one up here. Okay, and then I think I like the tea and coffee best. And then I'm going to do one with the sponge, just to show you. So I'm going to go back to my tea. Might be a little weak, not builder's tea as we know it. I'm going to just do a very light one there. Put a bit more colour on it. And then I'm going to do a coffee one over here. Circle it up a bit. The idea is to wet the page as little as possible. Don't double stroke with your sponge or whatever brush you're going to use. Let's turn it round this way. Let's use the sponge while we're mixing media now, and let's just do some stripes on there. We didn't use our blusher brush, so I'm actually going to give it a little haircut, because I mean, what on earth's going on there anyway? It's pretty old, I think. So there we are, little haircut I've given it there. And I'm going to use the coffee, and you see I'm just dipping in that corner again, so I've only got paint on that corner. I'm just going to do some blobs and splurges on there. So there's another one. We put it to one side to dry, and let's do one on the card. Now this one we'll do with the tea, and we'll make them rectangles. So starting with the middle one, very carefully make these curve-edged rectangles. So maybe I'll do this one a little smaller. And then I'll do one over here at the bottom. This can take a little more because you see it's thicker, but you can see it's still doing what it's doing. Once it's all dry, everything will change. So the only brush I haven't used is actually the paintbrush. So I'm going to use that one now. And I'm going to show you how I work on the side of the brush and not so much just on the tip. So the only thing we haven't got on there, the only one we haven't got is the cocoa powder. So let's put a nice dollop of the cocoa powder on there. And then we've got everything. So we're just making lots of papers now to come back and work on. We'll come back to all of these later in later videos with other ideas of how to complete them. So now all your papers are dry. You're just going to take a tissue, a bit of toilet roll or something, and give it a little dust over the top, just to get rid of the excess powdery coffee or tea that's on there, because your pen is going to pick it up. So give them all a little rub. You'll see there's quite a lot of tea and coffee coming off there on your cloth, so it's worth doing it. And then I think I'm going to work on the orbs. So you can decorate these papers with a fine tip pen any way you want. It's entirely up to you. I'm just going to give you some ideas now to get you started in case you just don't know what to do. To start with the top left hand one, I think I'll just do something really simple. Simple curved lines. To play some soothing music in the background, because that can help you to just relax a bit more, especially things that don't have lyrics, and then you're not tempted to sing along and you don't lose your relaxation feel. So there's the first one. You might want to just add a couple of little details there. Okay, so I might leave that like that for now. And you don't have to do them in any order. You can do them any way you like. You can start up here, come down here, whatever way you like. I like to keep an eye on which direction everything's going, if it's going upwards, across. You might want to sign your name at the bottom of your piece, and I think it's a good idea to add a date because these are quite prominent times. You might also want to frame your best piece and put it on the wall as a memento of these times that we're going through. I hope you're pleased with your results and that you gained a little bit of relaxation and escapism from the activity. Thank you for joining me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and join me for the next video when we're going to work on another of the papers that you made today. Until then, take care, stay well and be happy. Bye.